And our first person is Samantha Alloway.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. And hi, everybody. It's so good to see you all. Well, the ones I can see, but I know who's on the attendance list. So, hi, good to see you all. So, our objectives here, for the Arc of Illinois, I'd like to introduce who we are. So, we are the state's largest grassroots advocacy for intellectual and developmental disabilities. And if I was to explain what we do in one word, it would be advocate. And the way that we advocate here is to make sure that our directors, myself, our entire staff is in touch and truly understands the needs of all the impacts of IDD in the state. So whether that be, I'm sure you've seen our largest advocacies in the last year, Medicaid and Medicare and proper payments to families, more flexibility in our waiver and more accessibility to that waiver, protecting home and community-based services, because while I'll have the mic, I will say, remembering that it's still optional. And we want to see a world where that is just the norm and things are truly person-centered and families are able to develop homes and living situations for their children and loved ones where they can be included in the decisions and making sure that self advocates are consistently a part of these conversations and not just an oversight or something we talk about when it's all said and done. So building the house together is what we get from a lot of families is we want to be a part of the process. And that is really what this grant is going to allow the Arc of Illinois to do, to be a true part of the process. So we are doing a statewide listening and data collection tour. We're going everywhere, baby. We right now have 27 different sites and listening sessions set up. And if you're on this call and you're thinking, hey, I'd love to have that within my community, please reach out. Samantha at thearcofil.org. Everybody can find my email. Please reach out and say, we want our families included in this survey and we want our voices to be heard. Our first one is going to be in Springfield. So if you're going to be at the Illinois Transition Conference on October 30th at 4:30, please stick around. We even have some catering. We got some Panera coming in. Okay. So if you want some cookies and coffee, I got just the place for you. And we're going to keep these launched, the statewide policy and true lived experience summit. We work with some outstanding partners. We work very closely with the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities, with the Department of Developmental Disabilities. We consider these folks our partners. So we're working together to make sure that this is truly accessible. We're going to look at the data analysis with our outstanding partners at UIC. Caitlin Crabb and her team are going to make sure that all of the data we collect is processed in a truly, Caitlin, help me out. What is the best way? How are we going to take and tell this story of our data?
Hi, this is Caitlin. Um, I think sharing people's stories
Yeah.
and um, supporting people to speak up. If you're looking for the more, are you looking for like a qualitative approach
I sure
to?
am. Yeah, you say
Okay,
that
there you
way
go.
better than I do, Caitlin.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're going to make sure that we're working with partners who, at all times, I think you never want to be the smartest person in the room. You bring in the leaders that can help you create this story, this narrative, and then actually let's move. Let's not just talk, let's not just listen, let's move. We're going to look at waiver access with some outstanding partners. Some, I believe, are even here on the call with Engage Illinois and with Shirley Sains and her team and learn about the unmet needs of families and how do we actually create access and navigate this system from the beginning all the way through. And you can go to the next slide. So there's a lot. I won't repeat all this, but this is our hope for outcomes. We, like I said, we want to create impact. We want to create change. We want to move forward. So if we have this user-informed report detailing the unmet needs for individuals with IDD and their families and the breakdowns by the age, the geography, the living situation. And I think it's really important to note just a few of the communities that we're going to be talking in. So we're going to Springfield, we're going to Bloomington, we're going to Centralia, to work and speak to the Murray's Parents Association. Like I said, we're going to talk to everybody. We're going out to South Holland. We're going to the Vodka East Public Library, and then we're heading down south. I'm actually doing a Southern Illinois tour, which I can hardly wait for. And I'm going to Pinckneyville, Anna, DuQuoin, working with the mayor in Pulaski County and all as deep south as Centralia. And we're working that, I'm up here in McHenry County and also in Winnebago County, but we're working the entire state to make sure that everybody's voices are heard. So we started with 8 regional events was our intention. And already as of today, we have 25 because at the Arc of Illinois, we have a lot of outreach and a lot of families have responded. So again, if you want to participate, please let us know. We will also be doing some virtual sessions to make sure as many people as possible have an opportunity to share. We will have one large summit that's going to bring us together. We're looking at the February range. And I apologize, you do not have the date and I do not have that solid yet. But the moment we do, we will have that accessible for everybody that can be in attendance to be in attendance. We're going to work at the waiver access, the recommendation reports, and we're going to deliver these, like I said, to our partners so that we're working together, and not to mention working side by side with the General Assembly and the governor's office. We've made everybody aware that we're doing this because our hopes are not to overtake, it is to facilitate change in the state and in our system. And this is going to lay the foundation for launching another year 2 targeted at genuine reform, pilot programs, and legislative asks based on the community-defined priorities. And that comes from you. That comes from the family voices. I think next slide. These are our deliverables. This is what we're going to work on with our partners. So the community data collection tool. And when I say data, we know and we hear often there are lots of forms of data, but how can we make that data accessible? And how can we take that data and create policy change from it? And when I think about IDD, it's often like these many individuals have been diagnosed with intellectual or developmental disabilities, but the impact is always more profound because the families are centered around this person. And I don't believe we'd have it any other way. But the truth is that impact takes a toll and a change on all families. We have to look at the unmet needs statewide report with region-specific snapshots. And when I say not just region, we have to talk about the reality of making sure we include people of color, people that feel marginalized within their own communities, making sure that everybody has an opportunity to tell us what's going on in their lives. We're going to create a public data dashboard so that it's accessible for families to look at and say, hey, this is something relatable. And also at the Arc of Illinois, we always believe when you give families an opportunity to come together, you'd be amazed at how communities and networks and neighbors help each other. And this is an opportunity for us to have a closer community throughout the state. We're going to do our advocacy, as we always will, the awareness infographic to make it easy and accessible for families and self-advocates to speak for themselves. And we're going to have these recorded webinars for use by any coalition member, providers, families, for you to have the opportunity to share as well.
All right. Thank you, Samantha.
You're welcome. Thank you.